Hello everybody, welcome back to Commonwealth Flipper. I'm afraid I might make the guys a little mad out there today. Maybe not, I don't know. This doesn't necessarily just apply to all guys. It's just something I have really noticed with females out there in the reselling business and pickers that I have learned from over the last few years. Tried to implement. I have found that it works even better in live selling. We're going to talk about it on the static selling side. Speaking of static and live, we're going to update you on the numbers for July. For goodness sake, I never did that. And we're going to get there today. Our goal of $250,000, at least 150 of that on static selling, buy it now selling over there on eBay especially. We're going to talk about those numbers and this topic, which really intrigues me, and some awesome sales and a bunch of them. Let's go take a look. As I'm thinking here about July numbers, I'm already excited to get to the August numbers, which of course have not ended yet. And this is a, y'all hear Poncho back there? Gonzo. I thought this would sell last year. Check this out. It's a Gonzo Pilgrim. This is the perfect time of year for it to sell. And it sold quickly because, hey, you're making people angry. They say you're too loud. I'm gonna have to kick you out of here. I think I'll have to kick you out because you're not gonna stop once you start that. Anyway, Gonzo, this one sold. I had it listed higher, but we had to put it on 30% off. Sold for $16.59 plus shipping. That one is awesome. I had a talk with Poncho and Juan. Poncho said he would behave. We'll see how long it lasts. All right, I'm headed to pick an item that should lead us into this conversation about ladies and the way that they pick a little different. I noticed this with my wife. I've noticed this with all kinds of female pickers that I've been out there with, and they have taught me so much, not even trying to teach me, but just the way that they pick in a little bit different way than I do. And look, there are guys, well, I'll talk about this, and there'll be guys out there like, yeah, I know this already, I get that. So I'm not really saying that this doesn't apply. It's just a style of picking that a lot of people, especially new folks, don't really get. They get, they think the brand names, the bolos and whatever, but there's so many intricacies inside of those brand names and then outside of brand names entirely, where you can find items that are valuable. Chernox Connection has showed me this stuff over the years, Tim. So guys have showed me this too, but so many ladies out there that I have been picking with, that's kind of how I learned the mushroom thing, right? It's like, it doesn't really matter what the brand name is if it has a daggone mushroom on it and it's somehow kind of folksy, whimsical, whatever, and on a good product, no matter what the product is, it's going to sell. Let me tell you what, I've got so many things to pick. I'm going to have to pick quickly and mix this topic in. I'm going to save the numbers because I'm keeping track of another thing I want to update you on. I'm going to save you the numbers to the very, very end because I got to get this stuff picked. I am super excited. The stuff that I've been talking about for a long time, and I hate to do this because there are people, I saw a message just the other day, I can't sell anything right now on eBay, right? So I get that, I feel that, but I'm getting a lot of the opposite right now, like the summer slowdown never happened for me or whatever, which that might be an exaggeration for me. I did see some lulls for sure, but I got a page full of sales right here, and I'm super excited. And a lot of them came from, we've been talking about Eeasier, and we did do a bunch through that, and then we stopped because I was so excited about it. I want to reorganize to make it optimal. And that's taken a while, so we've paused that right now. Maybe by the time you see this or a couple days later, we'll have started to ramp it back up again. But a lot of those sales did come through that. You'll see some in a minute. And we only did, I think, a total of 50 items over there, or maybe just a little less. Michael Kors purse, this was a good one, y'all. This one, sometimes you're, gotta make sure stuff's real. People aren't faking Michael Kors too much, but I have seen some. I've seen a bunch lately, actually, that are. This one had another item inside of it, and that's what really made me go for it. Can't even remember what the other thing is, and I don't want to pull it out. It's a little wallet, and I think I paid $10 for it. Sold for $70, full price, pretty quickly, plus shipping. So that's really not the type of item that I'm thinking about. Now, I never used to buy purses for years and years. I would pick what I knew, and then I started to expand and get a little knowledge base. Purses became a big part of my business starting about 3 years ago. And I've done really, really well with them. And I'm sure I've passed up a ton that were good over the years. That's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about styles and almost feelings inside of a particular niche or a particular brand or particular product, or something that is universal. Like, for instance, I don't have it in here. It's in the other shed. But, you know, the Mary Mushroom stuff, right? But then I thought, well, are people really buying Mary Mushroom? And some people do. Or is it the fact that that's the new thing and that's the style and that's what people are buying? The brass. I used to pass up on brass all the time. And then my wife's like, oh, but that brass piece is so cute, and she'll put it on a little thing in there and whatever. And I'm like, huh, I just need, but not all brass sells, right? I just need to somehow channel my inner, my inner woman. I can't believe I just said that. And just think outside of the box, not in my brain, but in somebody else's brain. Like, who would want that? What is the audience? Live selling has accelerated this for me, because now I'll find, look at this little mushroom here. Look at that. That's just a plain Jane little glass paperweight mushroom, right? This isn't for sale. This was a gift, actually. I might sell it someday. But I would have passed that stuff all day long. I'm just using that as an example. But I can think of many, many, many more of these things. And I'm seeing people buy things with no comps because of the way trends are moving and the boho style and the different stuff I used to pass up all the time. The peacock chairs used to be a thing that was like, who would want that? And then it really ramped up, and then it went down. Wicker and stuff like that. And so it's not about learning the brand names sometimes. It's really about learning what people want at the moment. And inside of clothing as well. You might have a particular brand that's not selling well, but some type of style within that brand is hot right then. And I think a lot of people, a lot of men especially, not all men, some of you men out there, clothing sellers, have taught me a lot of this as well. I learned it a little bit with Hawaiian shirts too. Hawaiian shirts, just because the brand is good does not mean it's going to sell. A lot of times it has exactly everything to do with what type of shirt, not the brand. But like I said, I did sell a bunch of stuff. So we're going to weave this in. I'm going to hopefully be able to explain this to the folks that don't already know it. And a lot of you do, especially you clothing folks, and shoes for that matter. But I think it applies to so many categories, and we're missing out on items that we could market well that other people don't think will sell, or even you can't find comps for. This is one of our list Eeasier hats that we tried this experiment on, that we fell in love with, and are literally restructuring everything because of it. I can't believe, I did not think I would be at this point, but I absolutely am. $21 for this. It's a used hat. It's got a little, you know, it's not bad though. Really nice dolphins. Perfect time to sell it. I think this is our 4th item already. We got more in here too from that lot of hats that we did. And $21 plus shipping for that. I actually just saw something out of the corner of my eye. And then another item that did sell here that I would have missed. Like, I love ashtrays, so don't miss ashtrays. But this is the kind of thing, right? You know, there's no brand on it, you know, but you can find the name of the dog and the ashtray. I guess, I don't know if that's brass or not. It looks like it's painted, but anyway, that's super heavy. This is the kind of thing I would have never picked up in the past that I pick up now. And there's so many of those things that I am making money on. And some of the money shocks me on some of them, to be honest with you. And there's not a lot of competition out there. You know, I often say about puppets, you know, that a puppet, and this is the reverse, right? A puppet, to me, is something marketable as a golf club head cover. And it increases the value of that particular item. And I sell puppets all the time as golf club head covers. This is kind of the reverse of that. I don't think too many ladies out there might think that way. I don't want to make this about sex necessarily, but I think you get my point. I'm trying to think a little bit more like somebody who might want to decorate their house in a certain way, or decorate their Airbnb. They've got a second house. Kristen the World Squirrel, when I was out picking with her, and Angie Resales was there too, she would gravitate towards things that I would never gravitate towards. And I see her sell those and be extremely successful with those. And I'm sure you can think of 50 other examples out there. But I'm trying to get to that point, because if the sourcing side gets more and more competitive, the more I know, the more I can branch out, can help me find items that other people can't find. This wasn't even an example here, but that I thought of in my head, but now that I'm picking it because it's the next thing on my list, listed this over on Antiquity, and I marketed it to you guys, of course. I said, hey, I want to put this over there. This is the kind of thing my mind starts to think, oh my goodness, fall is coming up. This is a great little tight-knit throw. Halloween, Thanksgiving colors, fall colors. Like, this is a great item. This is not an easy seller over on eBay all the time, but at the right time, I'm thinking, man, somebody wants this right now. And that one sold. I put a good price on it over there, $20 plus shipping. It's actually inspired me to do more. And I think I might go find one in the other shed right now, and we'll put another one over on Antiquity, because people ask me about these all the time. Sometimes you don't know what you want until you see it. And that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. So I don't know who bought this. Let me thank them. That one's going to Metro Mighty Mouse. So first, a big thank you for that. I appreciate it, especially going over to Antiquity.com. And we are going to get to the numbers. People always ask me about the numbers. They want to see the growth, even if they're not a member over there, even if they don't, you know, participate in that. They're not live sellers. They don't consume live selling, whatever. And they're curious because they're invested in me, and I really do appreciate that and seeing the growth. But we'll put those numbers at the very end because some people don't care about them. My personal numbers at the very end, and the numbers of those Dibbed at 8 marketplaces over there, because we're pushing for goals over there as well, not just my own personal goals, and I'll include you in that. But this one, I Metro Mighty Mouse, I know that name, so I'm sure you know who I am, and I'm going to thank you for buying that. And I only see one other message from a viewer on any of those purchases. So I'm just going to read that one when I get to it. And if anybody else on this list is a viewer, I'm going to thank you in advance, but I see no messages. So, and we have a ton of sales headed out of here today. All right, I asked Jess where she put all of, look at me. You know, if you followed me 5-6 years ago on YouTube, none of this stuff would have been on here. See, there's a good application right here with, and I bought a bunch of paperweights the other day that I would have passed on because I didn't know the specifics, but sometimes it was just the visual of it. Like, if I think that's cool, or if I think somebody else will think that's cool, I would buy it. There's probably 8 other examples in here of stuff I've bought recently, but look, this is what I'm talking about. This is why we're selling so much off over on Dibbit right now, so we can restructure and reorganize just like this. I know nothing about this. I don't know if it's valuable or not. I do, however, know that it's applied glass. I learned from Tim, and I'm like, you know what, maybe it doesn't have tremendous value, but somebody would like those colors, like it. That thing's broken. Is that broken? That's no good. I don't know how that got broken. Anyways, let me find, see all those up there? I might have to turn this camera off to get here. This is what I'm talking about. We are in the midst of a complete overhaul to change what we're doing a little bit, so I'm gonna have to turn this off and find a good one. All right, I think I found a good one, but it's maybe not perfect for fall, but it's the core color is brown in there. So we're gonna keep putting these up over there because I keep getting people to ask me, and I don't have them listed. We're selling a lot live as well. The Halloween show coming up on Dibbed It, and we're gonna put some in that. I'm gonna put some over on Antiquity, but as long as this one's in good shape, I am gonna put this one over there at a very good price because I know a lot of people have been asking me about them lately. And so I'll have this listed around Antiquity.com. Super cheap. You got to get it quick because they, just like that one, went pretty quick. I know this isn't part of our regular programming, but I thought I'd show you this really quick because this is awesome looking, but it does have this issue right here that needs to be repaired. And it has one more smaller one right there. So anyway, in case you're one of the people who ask me about these all the time, it's over there. Because of those 2 issues, I put it under 15 bucks. So I love it. I'm going to put it right there, and it'll be there till it sells. And they're going pretty quick. I find myself back in here pretty quickly for this hat right here, because I haven't put all of those AI listed hats over there yet for a specific reason. Some of them we did, and then some we pulled because we knew they sold. But it's a cool little Stetson hat, and that one sold. I don't remember what it sold for. Let me get back in that cabin and tell you. Wallen's got the hose in his mouth. You just are determined to get in trouble, aren't you, bud? Hey. You can't, oh, you want the water, but you've chewed the hose. That's not a good puppy. Oh my. That one sold for $21.95 plus shipping. I want to say something really quick. Actually, I want to say 2 things really quick. So one is, I'm going to keep mentioning, you know, as in these early stages, hey, we list this over here, list easier, whatever. Look, I realize a lot of people don't want to hear, but some people do, and I'm getting just floods of questions. So I did a video with Death Pile Picker and Dan in Demand and Joe Philly Picker. Sorry, Joe. And over on Resellers Leftover. Starting 8-9 minutes in, there's going to be tons of answers to those questions. You can go over there and watch that. I'm not going to go into detail on here because a lot of people don't want to hear it. They just want to see what's going. They want to see the nostalgia, the stuff we typically do. But that is over there if you're interested. I'm still planning on doing one putting it on Garage Sale Nation as well. I'll mention things from time to time, and that link will always be down there. But I can't answer everybody's questions, so I decided it would be better to do that. All right, so this, I took my own advice, because I always talk about, my old friend in Willow Creek, California, used to talk about marketing, product placement, and you don't know what you want until you see it, right? And that's what this shed has been about for a long time. That's why we have probably more viewer sales than just about anybody, which is very, very awesome of you guys. And this, I'm like, man, I've had hundreds of people asking me about the granny square. Where can they buy it? It's for sale or whatever. I'm like, nope, that's not for sale. It's just part of the cabin. I'm like, man, I am missing an opportunity here, because you can find granny squares for every season of the year. Holiday looking ones for Christmas and winter, and fall stuff, and there's spring stuff. And I'm just going to keep doing this and keep putting them over on Antiquity as the seasons change. I thought, you know what? I should take my own advice. Is anybody willing to share who's known this for a lot longer than I have? If you have an antique booth, you kind of learn these things too, because there's some things I'd buy and I put in my antique booth that they would sell like crazy, and sometimes more than eBay, just because people don't know they want it until they see it, and they're not really searching for it, but when they see it, they know they want it. Oh, the little G.I. Joe tank. I don't think this is the oldest you've ever seen on this, but I do think it was complete, and they had pretty good value, but it's been sitting around for a while, taking up space, so I'm glad that one is gone. I'll double check, make sure all the parts and pieces are there, but y'all, that sold for $69.95 plus shipping. I have mentioned from time to time that I've done this for a couple years now, buying books that make sense, not because of what the book is, but because of the aesthetic of a set of books. People like to use those. Look at this dog. Oh, you missed him. He was up here a minute ago. See if he comes back. Nope. He was peeking in the window. This is a good example right here. Pictorial history of the Second World War. Somebody might not want those, but that is... Oh my goodness. What are y'all doing? Did I not shut the door? That's the kind of look I'm talking about. Been selling some shoes. Been pulling some out here. And shoes were the very first thing we tried over there with that list easier. And we've sold a few so far from that, which is good. Makes me tempted to go back and redo all these so they can optimize titles or whatever, but I'm not going to do that. I'll just sell them off and start anew. These are Merrill, I don't know what they're called, to be honest with you. Moab 2 vents. Bought these in, I paid up for them. I think I paid $20 for them. Paid for them in the Ray Nashville Flippers meetup. It was a super fun event a few months back, and they sold for $66.45 plus shipping, so $20 into $66.45. I figured I couldn't screw these up brand new in the box, and we made some decent money. Bought these over there, same exact sale, and I thought they were new. I paid $15 for these, thought I'd do really well on these. We still did good. There's a no-name kitty right there. How you doing, bud? How you doing? I know you don't like being around them big old dogs. You want a treat? Follow me to the shed. See, dogs can only go so far, but the cat can come out. I think these sold for just under $46, and there's an issue. I'll show it to you so I can find it really quick. See that right there on the back? And they had never really been worn, I don't think, but still had an issue right there. And that's one thing that's cool. Well, I told you I wasn't going to talk about it, but I won't. 45, what did that sell for? $45.95, so 15 into that. Not bad. I think I could have got closer to 60 if it had no flaws. Remember me pulling this out the other day and it was the wrong one? I had to go back and get the other one. The other one was a Kawasaki, sold for $25. This one is a Harley Climber manual. It sold for $38.95. I paid $5 for it. Actually, I might have paid $10 for the Harley. Either way, it was a lot to pay the garage sale, I thought. But I knew it would do good. $38.95 plus shipping. You ever at a sale and you hope they put a high price on something because you know you're gonna hate it when it sells? This guy, I don't even think I paid $5 for this thing. These sell, but man, they're a pain in the butt. And the top comes off. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna ship it, make it as cheap as I can. But it did sell for $70 plus shipping. I'm only a few bucks into it, so I guess I'll do the work. I did charge a lot in shipping, so we'll see where it's going. More CDs are selling. Stretch Armstrong, Rituals of Life. What is this? Trend something. I don't know what it is. Stretch. I have no idea what this is, but it sold for $18.95 plus shipping. These Tonka Truck Little Chuck and Friends. These are vintage already. Good night, almighty. Time flies. And these Galoob right here. These Galoob right there. That sold total $20. $23.65. I don't know if this is a viewer or not, to be honest, but I'm going to thank Sharon for that purchase right there. We have not sold all those micro machines from that video that I took so much heat over for not paying enough, apparently. But we're still storing a lot of the micro machines, but not those. They're out the door. I'm going to motor through these flips, so hold on to your hats and glasses, folks. But I want to show you something first. We've been selling like crazy. We sold $2,400 in the last 2 days over on Dibdit and Shop Commons. And part of that was some comic books. And I wanted to add to the Filipino flip. $310 brings us to $2,040 out of a $1,000 buy so far. On our early adventures over on List Easier, I did not... Whoa! Man, too much stuff. We didn't take... The pictures look worse than the shoes actually look. That was a mistake, but... Some of those are going to sell for more than this set. I didn't pay much. I think they were like $2 or $3 a piece for a ton of shoes, including Air Force Ones. And I'm like, yeah, let's get those two. Did not clean them. Another mistake. Which, well, it's not really a mistake. I do it on purpose. But I said, shoot, I can get those little metal things on there. Actually go for decent money. Not a ton, but a little bit. Sold for 20 bucks plus shipping. Sold 2 of these keychains, $15 and change. They are free shipping for 2. They're cheaper than that, 7 something. And so we sold the Marvin the Martian and the blue Taz, not the red Taz. $15.37 for those 2. $15.37 for a Carhartt 3XL shirt plus shipping. I don't sell near as much Tupperware as I used to because I don't list as much as I used to. But, look, my bin is sadly pathetic. Here's a good example right here. I bought these, no comp or anything that I saw. I'm like, man, somebody might want that little vintage acrylic-like looking set. And, of course, I hadn't sold yet, so maybe that's not a great example. But that little Tupperware lot right there, look, it says $3. I'm sure I paid less at a sale. That lot right there sold for $23.70 plus shipping. These hats sometimes are hard to price, so I put it on the low end so they sell, because sometimes they wait. But this is a true vintage one, new era, not a remake that you'd find at the flea market. This one sold for $14.95. It was also part of that first batch, third batch actually, but our first real big batch on List Easier. I will say this really quick, because people are learning more and more about it and signing up, and some people aren't using my code. So if you do sign up using that link below, use that code. I make less money when you use the code, y'all, but I'm not interested as much in that. I want people to save that 30 bucks. So, and there's no update on the lower plan. I know people are asking me about that. I'm trying. I can't promise anything. It is what it is. Liberty University right there. That one sold on discount, $12.57. A lot of times university stuff will sell this time of year for sure. I'm going to pick up 2 while I'm back here because I know that this Max Payne sold. Xbox Max Payne 2 sold for, I think, $10, $9.95 plus shipping. And then another Gwar sold. Violence Has Arrived. How pleasant. That one sold for $33.20 plus shipping. And this Bible is sitting out nice and easy. Life Application Study Bible. Not a huge winner on this one. New Living Translation. Has a little wear on it. It could have got more, but $9.07 plus shipping on 30% off. And here is the viewer sale that did leave a message. So it's the only one we had. I'm sure there are a few more viewer sales in here. There's no doubt. But this is the only one I know 100% certain is Pillsbury Doughboys, or 1977s, I think, 71s. Right there. I find these often now, and they don't go for much, maybe around 10 bucks, something like that. But this person bought 2 things, and this is actually a really good Hello Kitty that would have sold for even more money. The total, I think, was $33.25. This one here is a Build-A-Bear Sanrio, and some of these go for good money. So don't just say, oh, it's Build-A-Bear, it's not worth anything. Sometimes they are. But this one had an issue on it somewhere, if I recall. I thought it did anyways, or maybe it was up here where this is. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, that's still okay. A little Velcro, but it needs cleaned up there. Maybe there's not an issue on this one. I don't know. Anyway, $33.25 for both of those plus shipping. And it went to, it says Paul. Unless, oh wait, this is Paul's wife. That's what it is. Thank you. Appreciate you. As always, thank you for continuing to list in eBay. I have such a hard time with live auctions. I understand. I understand completely. So we're going to continue to list on eBay. We're going to continue to do lives. I'm bullish on almost every kind of reselling right now, so we appreciate you. Here is a minor example of what I was talking about earlier. I've gotten better. You know, Vera is Vera, right? But it's not. I don't know the patterns very well, but I have been getting a little better at looking at it and being like, yeah, that is a pattern I think we'll sell with that lime green at the top of the green and the blue. Plus it's got 2 little extras in there. That sold for $24 plus shipping. Y'all, this guy finally sold. This was on that video, and I was hoping for more money, to be honest with you. But when I got it home, I put a higher comp on the video because I thought it was good looking at the video. You see that? That looks perfect. But then you turn it around, look at its ear. It's missing that ear. That took its price down. I felt bad for putting that higher comp out there, not knowing that. But I didn't have it listed but when I did that. So $22.80. For that one. That's still pretty daggone good. It's the Fisher Price Castle Pink Dragon. If you see it out there, grab all the pieces for the castle. And even the castle too, but I've got the castle listed and it's kind of like this. It's like, I don't really want to ship it, but we'll do it. That one's not bad. Look for those. They sell well. More Tupperware sold. I guess I should be listing more of it, especially this kind of stuff. You know, people having their own chickens and stuff. My wife would come in and steal these when we had chickens. So trends like that, you know, somebody would want that. So they can put all their eggs in there. All their eggs in one basket. Anyway, they don't go for much. But it did sell. I'd pay $1 for them, you know. $10.60 for that one. Make sure they have the little egg things inside. Plus shipping. So not much profit. But hey, it's Tupperware. I like it. Oh, and I almost forgot. Sold another one of these. I can't remember where we're at. I think I said 96 last time. But this was actually 96. So, I don't know. I said 100, but I actually had some more to begin with. We've sold like 8 of these so far. I'm pretty happy with that. In for 11, out for $46.95. There's zero chance I'm going to sell all these by Halloween, but I want to see how low we can get it before then. We shall see. All right, I'm going to do these numbers as quick as I can because I've been delaying. So we have 11,600 in static sales in the month of July. Is that on pace? No, that's a little off pace, I think, to reach 150,000. So, but that's okay. Q4 is coming. 8,200 in live sales. So, most of that static is on eBay, but not all of it, of course. And the live selling is all on the Dibdit 8, mostly on Dibdit.com, shopcommons.net, and on Dibdit Card. Strangely enough, for me, in the month of July. I don't think I have too much on Dibdit Threads, but I'm going to soon. If you take just the Dibdit, all the Dibdit marketplaces combined have already surpassed 1 million, but Dibdit itself for this year, Dibdit itself with Dibdit Threads, Dibdit Cards has surpassed $1 million in sales. And then, of course, Shop Commons has gotten, I think, well over 100,000 this year, 200,000 total since we started it. And remember, a couple of those marketplaces, Cards and Threads, didn't start till, like, I think the end of February. So my goal was $1 million on Dibdit itself this year, and we are going to reach that. I have very little doubt that we're going to do that because Q4 over there gets really pretty hot. It's a perfect marketplace for it. So, and then there's other Dibdit marketplaces, Polish and Brush and Antiquity and stuff like that. So anyway, there's the update, and I appreciate you. Let me say one more thing about that. Come do your Christmas shopping over there. You can find some really good deals on new items for stocking stuffers and all that stuff. My goal is to have all my Christmas shopping done, most of it bought over there from sellers over there by the end of September. So give me your tips and tricks out there for buying things that might not have an intrinsic, well, that might not be the right word. Maybe some of you Etsy people can help looking at trends, patterns, styles, what's hot in designing and stuff like that, you know, decorating, and help us out down below. I know I want to tap into that, especially on the live selling side of things. You know, people don't know they want it until they see it. And sometimes you can do pretty good as a live seller with that kind of stuff and get closer to eBay value than you could have on an item that has a good eBay value. So it's a strange world. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening to me yap. As always, I hope your sales are going good. And if they're not, I hope they are ramping up as we get closer and closer to Q4. I appreciate you stopping by, and I can't wait to see you next time.